the truth about aliens and UFOs, science or fantasy. For centuries we have gazed at the stars and wondered, are we alone in the universe? From ancient myths to modern science fiction, the idea of alien life has captivated our imagination. Yet, for every extraordinary claim of UFO sightings or government cover-ups, there's an equally extraordinary lack of evidence. But why are we so drawn to the idea of extraterrestrial visitors? Is it a reflection of our deepest fears and desires, or is there a genuine mystery waiting to be uncovered? Today, on Veritas Lens, we will explore the history of alien encounters, the science behind the search for extraterrestrial life, and the psychology that drives us to believe in the unexplained. What's real, what's fantasy, and what does our obsession with aliens reveal about us? The history of alien theories. Human fascination with what might exist beyond our world is as old as civilization itself. Gazing at the heavens, our ancestors saw more than just stars. They envisioned portals to other realms, homes of gods, and domains of celestial beings. From the Anunnaki of Mesopotamia to the Vimanas in Hindu texts, we find accounts of entities that modern eyes might describe as alien. These narratives, deeply rooted in mythology and religion, reveal something profound: our search for meaning in the unknown. Were these stories merely primitive attempts to explain natural phenomena, or could they hide traces of a long-lost contact? In the modern era, fascination with visitors from the stars took on new life. By the late 19th century, the rise of astronomy and scientific theories about the cosmos reshaped how we imagined the universe. No longer confined to myths, aliens became beings of flesh and blood. H.G. Wells, in his classic The War of the Worlds, introduced the concept of extraterrestrial invaders. But this wasn't just fiction. Scientific progress, paired with the anxieties of modernity, raised new questions. If Earth isn't the center of the universe, why would we be alone? Then came 1947. Roswell, a case that defined an entire generation of conspiracies. Military officials reported the crash of a weather balloon, but for many it was a spacecraft. Contradictory reports, military secrecy, and the collective imagination turned this incident into a legend, marking the beginning of the UFO era. The Cold War only amplified this. As tensions between nuclear powers escalated, UFO sightings skyrocketed. At the time, the fear wasn't just of aliens, but of spies, enemy satellites, and technological invasions. Yet the popular imagination preferred to look to the skies and wonder, could they be intergalactic visitors, observing our vulnerabilities? Over the decades, this obsession was shaped by the media. Films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. portrayed aliens as more human, even friendly. At the same time, other works delved into abductions and experiments. Fear and fascination walked hand in hand. Today, looking back, we see that the history of aliens is in many ways a history of ourselves, our doubts, our fears, and our need to believe that something greater is out there. Scientific evidence versus sensationalism. When it comes to extraterrestrial life, separating legitimate scientific evidence from sensationalism is like trying to spot constellations in the night sky. The brilliance of popular imagination often overshadows the hard data. Modern science approaches the subject with rigor. Initiatives like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, have been scanning the cosmos for decades, seeking transmissions that might indicate advanced civilizations. The famous WOW signal detected in 1977 continues to intrigue scientists, but its origins remain unresolved, as it has never been replicated. Technological advances, such as state-of-the-art space telescopes, have enabled us to identify thousands of exoplanets, some located in habitable zones. Places like Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, and Saturn's Enceladus have also captured interest due to their subsurface oceans, which could potentially harbor microbial life. While definitive evidence remains elusive, the search is driven by scientific methodology, where every hypothesis undergoes rigorous testing before it's deemed credible. In contrast, sensationalism thrives on uncertainties, filling gaps with imagination and emotion. Reports of alien abductions, like the famous case of Betty and Barney Hill in the 1960s, intertwine personal trauma with speculative extraterrestrial narratives. Images of crop circles and blurry UFO videos dominate headlines, but rarely withstand detailed scrutiny. A classic example of sensationalism at work is the so-called alien autopsy linked to the Roswell incident. When the footage was released in the 1990s, many considered it indisputable evidence. Later revealed to be a hoax, its cultural impact had already solidified. Roswell had become synonymous with alien conspiracy theories. This raises a fundamental question. Why are we so receptive to these narratives? Psychology offers some insight. The idea that we are not alone is profoundly comforting to many. It not only fills an existential void, but also creates a sense that we are part of something larger. In times of uncertainty or crisis, these stories become even more appealing, offering a form of cosmic escapism. But what does this tell us about ourselves? Perhaps more than we'd like to admit. The search for extraterrestrial life, whether through scientific exploration or popular fantasy, is at its core a search for connection and meaning. The challenge lies in balancing our desire to believe with the need to question, remembering that the truth, no matter how simple it may seem, is always more fascinating than fiction. Famous reports and recent cases. Over the decades, reports of UFOs and alien encounters have transcended mere stories, becoming part of our collective imagination and, in some cases, pop culture itself. But what makes these episodes so captivating? Is it the apparent credibility of certain details, the lack of definitive answers, or perhaps humanity's innate desire to believe in the unknown? The Roswell incident of 1947 remains the archetype of alien conspiracy theories. Officially, the debris found on a ranch in New Mexico was attributed to an experimental weather balloon. However, later claims by military personnel who allegedly saw strange bodies, purportedly not of this world, have fueled decades of speculation. The event introduced the term restricted area and shaped the modern concept of government cover-ups. Fast forward to 1997, and we encounter the Phoenix Lights. Witnessed by thousands of people, this phenomenon involved a series of lights flying over Arizona. The official explanation pointed to military flares launched that evening, but it failed to satisfy all observers. Many eyewitnesses insisted the lights moved in a coordinated fashion, as if part of an enormous craft. The lack of concrete evidence has turned this case into one of the most debated in recent history. And now we arrive at the modern era. In 2020, the Pentagon released videos captured by US Navy pilots, showing mysterious objects performing maneuvers that defied known technology, abrupt changes in direction, and instantaneous acceleration. The government classified these as unidentified aerial phenomena, reigniting discussions about extraterrestrial life. Yet skepticism persists. Not knowing what something is doesn't necessarily mean it's alien technology. These episodes also reveal something profound about ourselves, our tendency to fill gaps in information with narratives. Take the case of Travis Walton, for example. His story blends an abduction account with details straight out of science fiction. In 1975, Walton claimed to have been taken aboard a spacecraft and subjected to medical examinations. Investigators and polygraphs have offered mixed conclusions, leaving his story unresolved, but undeniably fascinating, a testament to our willingness to embrace or reject the extraordinary. But beyond the evidence, why are we so drawn to these stories? Perhaps because they transcend the mundane and force us to question our certainties. They stir our curiosity, provoke fear, and paradoxically provide comfort, the comfort of imagining we're not alone. Somewhere between skepticism and belief, what do these cases truly reveal? Perhaps less about extraterrestrials and more about the nature of humanity itself. The difference between facts and fiction. The phenomenon of UFOs and the search for extraterrestrial life are amplified by an intersection between facts and fiction. The line that separates what is real and what is invented is often blurred by conspiracy theories, assumptions, and even the simple lack of conclusive evidence. In many cases, reports of sightings and encounters with UFOs are intertwined with alternative explanations, such as secret government experiments or experimental weapons. These factors, combined with the human desire for answers to the unknown, result in a kind of contamination of reality. What is presented as fact is often filtered through a narrative that feeds fear or fascination. Furthermore, science fiction plays a significant role in how we understand and interpret UFO-related phenomena. Movies, books, and TV shows explore themes of alien contact in creative and exciting ways, often without regard for the limits of plausibility. These representations shape the collective imagination and influence the expectations of the audience. However, fiction can also lead to a type of distortion. By presenting images of aliens with monstrous appearances or spaceships with advanced technology, science fiction creates a stigma that makes it difficult for people to consider the possibility of extraterrestrial life in a more objective way. In many cases, UFO sightings are dismissed as fantasies or hallucinations, even when there is no immediate explanation for the phenomenon. Thus, the line between what is fact and what is fiction can be thin and manipulated, especially when it comes to phenomena so shrouded in mystery. The interpretation of these events depends not only on the evidence, but also on how we are influenced by the stories we tell about them. As viewers, we are constantly challenged to discern between what is grounded in evidence and what is a construct of our own imagination. The cultural impact of extraterrestrials and UFOs. The idea of extraterrestrial life and UFO sightings are not only a subject of scientific fascination, but also have a profound cultural impact. From the earliest reports of encounters with beings from other worlds to the explosion of theories and media representations, extraterrestrials have become cultural icons. Their presence permeates films, books, TV shows, and even art, and plays an important role in how we think about our place in the universe. In popular culture, extraterrestrials represent both the unknown and the familiar, often portrayed as either peaceful beings in search of harmony or at other times as threats to human survival. These portrayals shape our perceptions of the future and the possibility of peaceful coexistence or intergalactic war. The concept of extraterrestrial life also raises philosophical questions, such as what it means to be human and whether we are ready to encounter an intelligence beyond our own. The influence of extraterrestrials on pop culture is evident in classic films like E.T. the Extraterrestrial, where the idea of a friendly alien captures the imagination of millions worldwide. On the other hand, films like Independence Day present extraterrestrials as hostile invaders, symbolizing fear and uncertainty about the unknown. These representations contribute to a collective cultural narrative about what the first encounter with beings from other worlds might be like. Furthermore, stories of abductions and encounters with UFOs influence not only entertainment, but also the collective psyche. The idea of extraterrestrial beings abducting humans has been explored in numerous science fiction narratives, but has also generated a significant number of reports from people claiming to have had such experiences. These stories, often difficult to verify, feed the perpetuation of urban myths and are part of a culture of mystery and fascination. As we advance in space exploration, extraterrestrials continue to reflect our fears, desires, and hopes, while also forcing us to reflect on our own humanity and our role in the vast cosmos. The cultural impact of extraterrestrials, therefore, is a combination of creativity, fear, and reflection, helping to shape our vision of the universe and ourselves. The human need to believe in the unknown. Since the dawn of humanity, there has always been a natural tendency to believe in what we cannot see, understand, or control. The quest for the unknown is an essential characteristic of our nature, and it is particularly reflected in the obsession with extraterrestrials and unexplained phenomena such as UFO sightings. But what drives us to believe in something so distant from our reality without concrete evidence? The answer, in part, can be found in human psychology and the way we interpret the world around us. In times of uncertainty, crisis, or fear, humanity tends to turn to the idea of higher forces, entities, or cosmic powers that might play a role in our existence. Extraterrestrials become a representation of these unknown entities. They are a metaphor for what lies beyond our reach, whether in space, science, or even in our personal lives. The idea of beings from other planets has the power to fill the existential void that we often feel in the face of the chaos and complexity of the universe. The belief in extraterrestrials is also fueled by the human need to connect with something greater. The search for answers to questions like the purpose of life, or the fate of humankind, may be easier to deal with when associated with the idea that we are just one discovery or a distant sighting away from an encounter with a superior intelligence. It's as if the solution to our greatest dilemmas lies in the hands of beings from other worlds, a way of putting our own fragility in perspective before the vast cosmos. Popular culture, as we've already mentioned, amplifies this need. Movies, books, and documentaries fuel the idea that we are being observed or even contacted by extraterrestrial beings, creating a kind of collective expectation. The mystery surrounding the UFO phenomenon makes people drawn to theories and narratives that offer answers, even if those answers are not based on solid facts. The desire to believe in the unknown, in something greater than ourselves, is a reflection of our need for meaning and belonging. Throughout history, gods, spirits, and invisible entities have filled this space of unknown and inexplicable. Today, this role seems to be taken over by beings from other planets. The search for cosmic answers, even though it may not be based on solid evidence, is a way of transcending the limitations of our understanding, offering an explanation, however unlikely, for what we do not know or understand. Aliens and popular culture. Popular culture plays a key role in how aliens are perceived in modern society. From the earliest UFO sightings to today's cinematic productions, the idea of extraterrestrials has evolved from a scientific curiosity into a full-blown cultural obsession. Science fiction, particularly in film and literature, has been essential in shaping how we imagine aliens, beings from other planets who can be both a threat and a source of superior wisdom. In the 1950s and 60s, films like The Day the Earth Stood Still and War of the Worlds helped popularize the idea that aliens could pose a threat to Earth, a theme that grew with the Cold War and nuclear paranoia. During this period, aliens were often portrayed as invaders, as metaphors for humanity's fears about foreign ideologies and the destructive potential of nuclear weapons. However, in the 1970s and 80s, the perception of extraterrestrials began to change. Films like E.T., The Extraterrestrial and Close Encounters of the Third Kind presented a more friendly and curious view of beings from other planets. Aliens began to be portrayed as peaceful, intelligent, and capable of establishing emotional connections with humans. These representations reflected a shift in cultural attitudes, with a greater focus on the exploration of the unknown and the search for a cosmic connection, rather than an irrational fear of invasion. The following decades brought a mix of portrayals of extraterrestrials, from benevolent and wise beings to hostile and destructive entities. Films like Independence Day, 1996, and TV shows like The X-Files kept the theme of alien invaders alive, but at the same time a new wave of representations emerged that questioned the nature of encounters with extraterrestrials, as seen in Arrival, 2016, where aliens are not invaders, but an enigma to be solved. In addition to influencing films, aliens have also appeared in TV series, books, and even conspiracy theories, with characters like the Greys and the phenomenon of abductions. The idea that extraterrestrial beings might be among us, observing or interacting with humans, has been a recurring theme in popular culture, fueling both fascination and, at times, fear of beings we have never seen but that haunt us in some way. Science fiction, in its essence, is not just a form of entertainment, but a tool for exploring profound existential questions. When we talk about aliens, we're not just talking about beings from other planets, but about our own search for meaning, understanding, and even transcendence. After all, contact with extraterrestrials represents for many the possibility of a new perspective on the universe, challenging our beliefs about humanity's place in the vast cosmic tapestry. Thus, popular culture contributes to creating a collective imagination of what alien contact might look like, allowing extraterrestrials to become symbols of our deepest hopes, fears, and curiosities. The mystery of extraterrestrial existence. As we reach the end of our analysis, we realize that the question of extraterrestrial life and UFOs goes beyond the simple search for scientific answers. Instead, it is deeply connected to the very mysteries surrounding our existence. The obsession with extraterrestrial life, often driven by sensationalized accounts or conspiracy theories, reflects something more profound about humanity than just a cosmological curiosity, our relentless quest for greater and deeper meanings. While we still do not have definitive answers about the presence of aliens, the fascination with this topic reveals much about how we deal with the unknown and our place in the universe. In our ceaseless search for answers, UFOs and aliens have become symbols of an existential need to transcend human limitations, to find something beyond our everyday experience. For many, the simple act of imagining that we might not be alone in the cosmos is comforting, offering the possibility of a greater purpose, a cosmic connection that lifts us above our existential anxieties. On the other hand, it is also important to recognize that, as intriguing and provocative as the search for aliens may be, the lack of definitive evidence should not suppress critical thinking. The scientific exploration of extraterrestrial life must be guided by the search for solid evidence, not fantasy or sensationalism. In the end, the true value of this investigation lies not only in discovering life beyond Earth, but in how it forces us to question our own beliefs and expand the boundaries of our knowledge. Ultimately, the fascination with aliens is not just about beings from other planets. It is a metaphor for our quest for meaning, our constant need to understand what makes us human, and to explore the mysteries of the universe. Therefore, the true journey is not just to discover whether extraterrestrial life exists, but how this search reflects our own evolution as a species, our imagination, and our ability to explore the unknown.